Gotham episode 6, Spirit of the Goat. I think this was actually my favorite episode so far. It had a lot of cool story elements in it. I really enjoyed the main story, with it being the fact that we got to learn a little bit more about Bullock and how he used to be a lot like Jim, and then over time he sort of transitioned into his old partner because he got his old partner hurt. So I thought that was really cool, and then just the actual case itself was really cool because it had me going for a little bit because and it's probably because it's within the Batman universe, so I know all the possibilities of it. But when they were going through this case, a lot of different ideas popped into my head. Because at first they mentioned, okay, maybe they caught one guy, but he actually did have a partner back then, and I thought, okay, that's a pretty cool case. They just happened to catch one guy, and they thought it was him every time, so that kind of makes sense. And then when they actually caught the guy, and he was being all weird, because I didn't notice that he was doing the same thing as the other guy. I was thinking, like, is there actually a spirit of the goat? Are they getting, supernatural in this show right now? And then when they actually revealed the fact that it was the therapist, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a nice little twist, and it's like this random woman is actually the spirit of the goat, and she's weird for whatever reasons. They couldn't spend a lot of time going into detail on that, but I thought the main case was actually pretty cool, and we got to meet Bullock's old partner, and he and Jim had a little bit of a conversation. It's like, are we talking about the same guy? But overall, I thought the main story was actually really good, and then there were multiple side stories, and it's like nothing had like a really long story or side storyline in this episode. Everything was just little bits and pieces here and there. This is kind of just what's happening outside of this case. It's just like, Riddler's doing this, Penguin's doing this, Bruce is like sleep on the couch, and Selina breaks in his house. Little stuff, but I actually enjoyed it, and that was a cool scene with Selina, and it was just the first glimpse of them actually together. Hopefully something will come up out of what she took. I'm not sure what that was. It was really shiny, so I'm assuming it was really just to get some money, but she's around, so hopefully we'll get them interacting when Bruce is actually awake, and they'll really help each other out, because she saw the giant, all the stuff on the wall, so she knows what he's looking into. So I'm hoping they help each other out, as kids. That'll be pretty cool to see. But we got to see the stuff with Penguin, which was really simple. At first, it was like he went to see his mom, and there was nothing really huge about that. It was just him going to his mother's house, like, hey, Mom, I'm alive. And they were just talking. It was like, it's cool to see his mom, and he kind of just went home to something familiar, really, and that's about it. And then at the end of the episode, it was kind of when that little bit of the episode really blew up. But the other side of things was we got to see the Riddler a lot in this episode, more so than we got to see in any other episode. We got to see the Riddler. He only had like one joke in this episode, and we didn't even hear the punchline for that, which I find kind of ironic. Like, of all the things, this is like the one episode he's in the most, we never actually hear the punchline to that joke. But it was cool to see him, and he's obsessed with this woman, and it was kind of funny. Like, he was just really weird. He was weird in general. He's not just like, overly enthusiastic when he's on the job. He's just a weird guy, and the girl that he likes knows that, and she's like, the riddles and stuff piss her off, and she's like, you're just weird, and he screwed up her filing and all that stuff. But I enjoyed getting to see him. It was kind of funny just watching him have some sort of interaction outside of him talking to Bullock, because it's always like him being enthusiastic about something and trying to talk to him, and Bullock's just like, shut up, and he's trying to deal with the case, especially in this episode because he had such a close connection to it. But it was cool to see him have a back and forth with a different character, and it was a lot like with Bullock. She didn't tell him to just like shut up or anything, but feelings were kind of the same, if not worse. She kind of doesn't like him, she kind of likes him a little bit less than Bullock does, I think. So it was cool to see that. I'm sure they won't let that go. I'm sure we'll get some episodes in the future where he'll be trying to make things better with her, and I don't know if he'll try to be more normal. He probably can't be, but I enjoyed him in this episode. I think my favorite part, though, is when he was drinking the coffee and it was just like a question mark on the mug. I thought it was just a really funny way for them to be like, hey, he's the Riddler, and it's just a question mark, and it just looked really silly to me. But I enjoyed him in this episode, getting to see a tiny bit more out of him. I'm hoping we do get a lot more. I hope that at some point there is a case where he's like the main force that helps them solve it. He was a big help in this episode, which I thought was really cool too. It was just another way to kind of put him in this episode. Like, hey, it's a big sort of puzzle, and we have to figure out of all of these people who have access to these two places, who did what and things like that. And so it's kind of cool that they got his help in this episode because that's kind of what he does. He's smart like that. So hopefully we'll get more of that in future cases. But overall, I think this was a really good episode. Of course, the ending was without a doubt the best part. I didn't expect it to end that way. I thought it was just gonna be they got busted, and then maybe in the next episode things would go crazy. But of course, why not just introduce it at the end of this one? But I really loved how they did things, and Gordon's getting pulled in. My favorite part of that whole little arrest scene, outside of course the little reveal at the very end, was Gordon being a terrible liar when he's like, that's a lie. And he was convincing at first, and then he's like, yeah, it was a lie. He's like, I didn't shoot him. He was like, of course not, partner. And there's like, you're under arrest too. And he's like, what are you talking about? So I thought that was really funny because it was like he was convincing at first, and then it just went downhill as it kept going. He's like, of course you did, buddy. So I thought that was really funny. I enjoyed that little part of the just them getting arrested. But Penguin comes in at the end of this episode, and things are definitely going to get crazy. And I cannot wait to see how things go. I didn't get to see the preview because unfortunately I missed the episode, so I had to watch it online. So I didn't see the preview, but I know it's going to focus on just Penguin's alive. So I don't know how quickly that's going to go downhill for both Jim and Bullock. I mean, for Jim, he's pretty much toast. I know he'll find some way out of it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the main character. Also, I know Batman. But, it's going to be crazy to see how things play out. I mean, everyone knows, once everyone knows that Penguin is alive, Maroni won't have the upper hand that he wants, which means that he won't have much of a use for Penguin. He'll still have those secrets, but at some point it's going to be like, Maroni has this super secret weapon, which won't be much of a secret, but it's still a great weapon, and that's the Penguin. But if Falcone and Mooney know that he's alive, they're going to do everything in their power to take down Maroni. They're just going to shoot up every place that he owns looking for the Penguin. It's like, hey, either turn him over to us and you kind of do your own little thing and try to, overpower us, or we're going to shoot up every single place we have, or every single place you have, because we know you have someone on the inside who knows a lot of our secrets, and we can't have that. So that's really going to escalate the war if they let it get out. They could easily keep that hidden because right now, I'm assuming it's just all the cops in there, but they could easily just put it in one random prisoner in there is going to be like, oh, that's Cobblepot, I'm going to go to Fish Mooney or Falcone. So it could easily blow up in their faces like that with just a random prisoner trying to get some money. But I'm really excited for next week's episode. Of course, comment below, let me know what you guys thought about this one, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And because it focused on so many little moments, I think the main story was definitely really good. But it focused all the little stuff with Bruce and Riddler and Penguin as well. What was your favorite out of those three? I think the stuff with Bruce was really the stuff we got to see the least, honestly. He was sleeping in one scene, and it was just Selena going there, and the other time it was just him talking to Alfred. But out of those three little mini sections, I guess you could kind of count for, because I believe her name's Montoya, when she was trying to get the witness and all that stuff, which kind of just blended with the Cobblepot thing. Which little side story in this episode was actually your favorite? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.